A few years back, my first guest won a Tony opposite Katharine Hepburn. Currently, you can catch him as Officer Obo on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Please welcome René Auberjonois. Is that a Deep Space Nine tie you're wearing?
That's a Deep Space Nine tie, yeah.
That's great. No, I'm afraid I don't.
Yeah, well, I got two of them. One for my dad, who doesn't know why I play a fascist. He lives in London, and first time he saw this character, he's right up here on the top of the knot, he said, "Why do you play a fascist?" He didn't quite understand it. But you have to be very careful about how you tie this.
Why did he think you were a fascist?
Well, because Odo is a security chief. And so he's very rigid and sort of stolid, and he didn't understand. But you have to be careful how you tie this tie, because if you don't do it right, my face ends up under the knot.
We can't have that.
No, I've got it down now. I've got it down.
Now, Deep Space Nine, help me with this. The plot is that you guys don't go anywhere. You sit in the space station.
No, Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine is a space station.
Right. So you just sit there and
no. We don't just
play
sit
cards
there.
Or something.
No, we are on the edge of a wormhole. You know.
I feel like such an idiot.
This is late night, so we can say that. Actually, when I first read the script, I didn't know that a wormhole is well, it's theoretically a real thing out there, and it allows you to go into all different parts of the Gamma Quadrant, places in the universe that have never been visited. So, in fact, even though Deep Space Nine is a space station and it doesn't go anywhere, we get in our little runabouts and we go.
And you can still zip around and fall in love with aliens and all that stuff the other shows
do. Absolutely.
That's great. Now, you have now entered a world. You've won a Tony, you're a stage actor. But now you've entered this world of Star Trek, and with it comes a lot of that baggage. Do you mind that? You're on your way to a convention, I understand.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Indianapolis this weekend, and that's part of, when I first did it, I thought, oh boy, I've got to be careful. I'll do what Bill Shatner did on Saturday Night Live, and then spend the next 6 months groveling around, apologizing for doing
he trashed the Trekkies
he said,
on the show.
He made some remark about get a life, and then after that...
Yeah, nerds take that real seriously. Yeah.
No, I'm not going to make that mistake.
Any one of them wants to fight me on this show.
Yeah.
No, but you have to be careful, right? These guys are very sensitive about it.
They know so much more about it than I do. The first one I went on, the show hadn't aired yet, and I walked out there, and they didn't really know. I mean, they remembered me from Benson playing this nitwit, and of course they have a real investment.
Yes.
Hey.
Yeah.
No, I loved that character, but they sort of stared at me and looked at me like, what's he gonna do? In Star Trek.
Will he measure up to Chekhov and Sulu?
Will he measure up?
Right.
Yeah. And so I had to be very careful, and they did know an awful lot more about it, and they still do. I mean,
Don't they know a frightening amount? I met someone once, I'm serious, I met someone once who wrote an episode of The Next Generation, and he made a slight mistake. He said something like, he wrote an episode where a Vulcan falls over from a heart attack. He had too much beat.
Vulcans don't have hearts?
Right, or no, a Vulcan has a heart down here, and they listen, and he had the doctor listen for his heart over here, and he got a lot of hate mail, people coming by his house, throwing things at him. I mean, they take this stuff very seriously.
I think as long as you're up front with them, and it's cool, but, and don't try to pretend you know more than they do. I mean, I was very careful.
They sound very dangerous.
Yeah, you're talking about the Hell's Angels.
Yeah. Whatever you do, don't make eye contact with them.
And as a test, you got to know the difference between a Ferengi and a Boli and a Bajor and
come on.
Cardassian, and there'll be a test on this,
Now, what is your character's power? A lot of these people have powers on the show. What can your character do? Can you give someone a Vulcan neck pinch?
Odo is no, I don't do that, and I don't do that, and I don't do things like that.
You're not into that.
No, I'm not into that. Odo is a liquid mass. He's like He's like amber jello in his real form, and he is forced to take on a humanoid shape in order to function in the society of Deep Space Nine. He can only hold that shape for a certain number of hours, and then he has to melt. Of course, then he has to melt into a bucket and regenerate himself.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
He melts into a bucket?
Yeah.
And is it just like an ordinary iron bucket? Or is it
it's a sort of a Star Trek bucket.
This isn't something they just grabbed at a hardware store.
It's fancy. It's got fancy bucket. Fancy.
Uh-huh. And this is and so this is your power, and you're happy with the character.
Well, he's a shapeshifter, so I can turn into a rat. I've been a rat.
I'm sorry. How do you, as an actor, when they explained the character to you, they said you become a gelatinous gel, you live in a bucket, and occasionally you become a rat.
What do you do about that?
Yeah.
You don't do anything about it. The computer does it. You know, I came in the next day after the rat worked for me, and everybody was congratulating me. They were saying, you were terrific yesterday. And then I saw the rat was wonderful. The rat has actually come back. He might become a recurring character, which, of course, is me. I've been a rat, a knapsack, I've been pictures on walls. I've been a glass. I've been all sorts of things. It's great.
Well, best of luck with the show, really.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for being here. We'll step away. We'll be right back with Yokozuna.